try to not to use a lot of buzzwords because I'm not technically in your space. The area and the industry that I work in parallels marketing, digital strategy, but I work in the human resources and recruiting industry. So I'm going to share my story with you guys about what happens when your personal brand outgrows your corporate brand, and we'll talk about how this might align with working with your human resources team internally within your organization, especially since we're all talking about humanizing the brand, but we don't often think about your employees, which are the largest expense within your organization is your payroll, but they can also be your biggest advocate. I just read recently in a study that Cisco did earlier, that was announced earlier this week, that 1 in 3 young professionals and recent grads will now accept a position of lesser pay if there is access to social media sites. What I'm here to tell you is that your human resources and your recruiting team and many of your senior leaders don't have a clue. They think that your employees or your potential employees should bend to their wants, their desires, and their needs. But right now, although we're at 9.1% unemployment rate in the United States, we have 27 million people who are looking for work, your senior leaders are still saying, oh, they will do what we want, not what they want us to do. Although we have all these people looking for work, it is still harder and harder to find the right talent in your organization. So in 2001, I was working in big box retail. And I was working in Garden City, Kansas, which for many of you, you might think is the end of the earth. And let me tell you that it pretty much is. It is, for real. It's close. I was in a very rural environment working for Target Corporation. And we would post an ad in the newspaper, and we would get 300 people that showed up to the store. Maybe 5 of them were actually qualified for the job. Or could even tell me that the acronym for the state of Kansas was KS and not KA. So I got to thinking, if I want to hire a new store manager or assistant manager or even a cashier, where do I go in this very rural town where it's guaranteed that people will go and be there so I can recruit them? I was using dating websites, chat rooms, and forums to effectively recruit my candidates to my organization. It worked. Because when you're looking for love, you're going to put where you work, the position that you're in, and you're very open to receiving a nice little email from somebody, maybe that's inquiring about whether or not you want to come work at a new organization. I had no idea for a very long time that other people were not doing these kind of things. I just figured it made sense to me. People were spending a lot of time online, dating, looking at porn, reading web blogs. Go where the people are. Until this year, porn was the #1 activity on the internet.
What's #1 now?
Social media.
Social media is porn? I don't think so.
Apparently, a lot do. Yeah, they could be the same thing. 16 hours a month is the amount of time that your employees are spending on Facebook, actively engaged. And when I talk to HR professionals, they don't really get it. Many times at work. But most of you, and I don't have my phone on with me, I feel slightly naked, but many of you are actually accessing these sites from your cell phone because 54% of companies are blocking access to social networks. So your cell phone is kind of like your middle finger to the corporate men that are trying to keep you down. That's exactly what I was doing. Flash forward to 2007, I was working for OfficeMax as a human resource director. Started a blog to try to drive passive candidates to my organization by giving them the unwritten rules of the job search. Once again, it worked. I was using MySpace, Facebook, and my blog, and even Craigslist to effectively recruit 30% of my workforce. The more popular I got on my blog, the more people that were reading, the more people that were talking, the more time I was spending on the site, even though I could justify the numbers, the more frightened the organization was of me. I'm just one person. I remember the day when I had 25 visitors in one day to my blog. I did a little dance in my living room. I was so excited. All I was talking was how to find a job. Don't wear that shirt with a mustard stain or wrinkled pants. Or make sure that your cover letter is free of misspellings and incorrect punctuation. Not rocket science, but Office Max was completely terrified. I worked really hard to try to bridge the gap. They knew entirely up front what I was doing. From the moment I started the blog, I met with my senior HR folks and said, look, I'm going to test this out. I think it's going to work. And it did. But they still didn't understand. I had several conversations with senior leaders asking more questions. What's this LinkedIn thing? Why are you saying you're hiring for customer service people when we're really hiring for salespeople? What are you doing after hours? Are you trying to make money off this thing? I worked with them to help build their social media policy. This is 2009. And I researched, we did a lot of work, met with a lot of folks, and I helped them with a lot of questions. And right towards the end, when we sat down, sort of went through the entire policy, it dawned on me. They weren't providing the policy for the 20,000 employees at that company. They were writing the policy for me. They were scared of me. So I went ahead and made my exit about 6 weeks later and decided to launch my own company. And so one of the reasons that I'm here with you today is because you guys are representatives of the organization. You're working for the companies, many of them major companies that are building social media strategies, but you're forgetting one piece of the puzzle, your human resources and recruiting team. They're the one writing the policies, and they don't know what a Facebook post is. They don't understand what an avatar is or the difference between a tweet and a text. I say these things because in the last week while I was in Dallas, Texas, those are 3 questions that I received from human resource professionals, many of them that may be at your organizations, wanting to know, what's the big deal with this Facebook thing? And I thought it was going to go away. I can't do this alone. I'm a lamplighter in the human resource industry, right? I'm talking about engagement and conversations and how we should engage our internal assets. Not just focus on our customers, but oftentimes our employees and our candidates who are our customers, very often depending upon the industries and the market that we're in. So what I ask to you is to sit down with your human resources and recruiting teams, talk to them about what a tweet is, about what an avatar is, and how we can effectively use social media to communicate. Because there will come a day when they're going to have a sexual harassment investigation, or they're going to be really concerned when somebody posts a gay slur on Facebook after hours. And if they're in the state of New Jersey, it's likely that you cannot terminate them for those activities. 26 states in the United States have protection for activities regarding off-duty conduct. It's likely that your human resources team, or even you, this does not mean that you can go out, post a bunch of crap after hours and say, but Jessica said it was okay. I'm not an attorney. But your human resource team doesn't know this. Your HR team doesn't know that the National Labor Relations Board is looking at social media activities and how that you are able to complain about your boss, your pay, your benefits, working conditions, and it will keep you from potentially being terminated for having those conversations. They don't understand. It's called concerted protected activity. Now, I don't expect you to understand those conversations either necessarily, but I do want you to open the door, take their hand, and talk to them about a lot of the things that we've talked about today. How social media can be used for good. How social media can help answer questions for people who want answers. I have a friend who's a social media manager, community manager for a very large top 20 Fortune company in the oil and gas industry. They have oil fields in rural Oklahoma. And this gentleman, this employee, had some very personal questions. Didn't feel comfortable asking his manager about the health plan. Wanted to know if his sex change would be covered under the employee benefits program. Now, working in a market or place such as that is very, very manly. You have to be a man. And he didn't have anybody to talk to. So he went where the only other place that he could think to go to, which was Facebook, to which he randomly messaged the community manager of a Facebook page and asked the question, It's up to you guys to be able to build that bridge, to have those conversations, so we can start talking about how we can humanize human resources using social media, so that your company isn't scared if your personal brand or the personal brand of your peers becomes bigger than the corporate brand. Thank you guys so much.